Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, welcome. My name is Dimitra. In today's video we are going to be talking about one of the new eyeshadow palettes from Marc Jacobs that recently launched at Sephora. I believe you can only get it online right now, and it only launched about a week and a half ago, and it is this palette right here. It is the Marc Jacobs Eye-Conic Multi-Finish Eye Palette. It does include 7 eyeshadows with different types of finishes, and they are 0.85 grams each. In the past, I have purchased several items from the Marc Jacobs Beauty line. I have a lot of blushes, I have eyeliners, I have mascaras, as well as a variety of eyeshadow palettes. So I have a pretty good feel about his formula and where the bar has been set, and the bar has been set pretty high. I mean, let's be real. When we're almost paying $100 for some of these items, it better be able to act as my personal butler and wipe my ass after I go to the bathroom. Okay, maybe not that far, but it better be pretty darn good. When you take this palette out of the box, you have this beautiful, sleek black packaging right here. I absolutely love it. I think it's so stunning. I love the glossy finish, although the only thing that does suck about it is that it gets fingerprints all over and it can look yucky pretty quickly, but I forgive it because it is still stunning. It is plastic, but it is pretty durable plastic, so I'm sure you could throw this into your purse and take it with you throughout the day if you do want to do touch-ups or travel with the palette, but we'll get into that in just a little bit. You use this silver button right here to just crack it open. You just push it once. You've got a nice little mirror, a protective layer, which I'm going to use to actually cover the mirror, and then you have your beautiful colors right there. They are in small circular pans, and you do have 7 of them. Now this is the editorial palette. It is one of several. I will put the number down here. I can't quite remember, but I thought this one was the most beautiful one. It definitely called to me because of this shadow right here, this beautiful sort of bright antique gold color. And if you guys have been watching my channel for a while, you know how diehard I am when it comes to a beautiful gold eyeshadow. Aside from the actual packaging, what I like is at the very back of the eyeshadow palette, you have all of the names of the eyeshadows as well as all of the colors, because clearly you can't see what they are, but when you look at the back, you know exactly what's in your palette. And that is a similar feature to what his old palettes had, except they were a lot smaller and they didn't have the names of the actual colors on them. And while I was reading Sephora's website, it actually said to read all of the eyeshadow names from this side to this side over here for a short poem, which I thought was kind of neat. I'm like, that's a nice added detail. So starting over here, it says, take a memo, next season we'll see pleather python making a scene, enviously everywhere, which is the last color. And that was a little poem, and that also sounded like a prediction that we are going to be seeing pleather python in style for next season. I'm not a huge fashion person, but I like the python print. I think it's pretty. Anyways, this pleather python is definitely the center of attention for me, so it makes sense that it would be the center of attention for the next collection from Marc Jacobs or perhaps from other fashion designers. Anyhow, that's a cute little feature. It's funny because the website also says that this mirror is, I'm just gonna read off of my iPad here, it was designed to feature the oblong infinity mirror, and it was inspired by the rear view mirror of an automobile. So you're kind of looking at yourself in the rear view mirror when you stare at this, or at least that's what it's supposed to channel, but I don't know. I actually don't like that inspiration, just because it sounds like you're leaving yourself behind, like you're looking at the rear view mirror, not looking forward. Anyways, I'm not really gonna get into it, but it is nice because it just focuses on your eyes, so you can really get in there and do some detail work if you're just traveling with this, and this is your only mirror. This eyeshadow palette is identical to his previous releases of his eyeshadow palettes, which are almost the same. Same type of packaging, same sort of mirror, and you do have 2, 4, 6, 7, just double checking, 7 eyeshadows in this palette as well. well. The reason I brought out his old palette is because I wanted to compare the formulas, and I also cracked out his Christmas release. This was the About Last Night palette. It was this one right here that I absolutely love and adore. This one here, as well as this style icon, the Starlet, are both very, very similar when it comes to the formula. So the eyeshadows feel very, very similar, especially the mattes. They are very pigmented, they do feel velvety, and they blend out very, very easily. And I believe, let me just double check here, Sephora's website does say that the mattes are a buttery velvet, there are shimmering satins, sparkling silk, and metallic lame. Actually, they misspelled lame in the first paragraph, and I read it as lame, but it is lame. Don't ask me what that means, but I'm assuming it's just sparkly. I did use this palette alone to create the look that I'm wearing it today. I absolutely love how it came out, although I will say I did struggle a little bit just to use this palette to create this look. I don't feel like you can create a ton of different looks with this, but you can get some really good ones out of it. So what I ended up doing for my look was using Take a Memo, this really nice beige, very light beigey sort of pearl color with a matte finish, and I use that as my transition. I used Next Season, which is this beautiful frosty white eyeshadow that does have a yellow undertone to it when you apply it, and I use that for the inner corners of my eyes, and I kind of blended that upwards into my crease from there. I use this beautiful sort of light, cool toned sort of brown color called We'll See in my crease as well to define it a little bit more, but also help blend out Enviously, which I also put into my crease. Enviously is a beautiful sort of matte forest green color. It is quite dark. I use it on the outer corners of my eyes, and I also put that into my crease. And of course, the star of this show is Pleather Python. I had to put that all over my lid. I just thought it was too stunning not to use. From far away, you probably can't see it, but when I do a close-up, you're gonna see this beautiful black eyeshadow down here that has gold glitter in it. Very, very fine glitter. It almost looks like an obsidian. And I use that on my lower lash line. And I feel like a lot of the glitter didn't really stick, or it doesn't really show up very well, but I loved how dark it was, how easy it was to blend out. And then I went back to Enviously, and I used that to blow out my lower lash line just a little bit more. So I think I used almost every single color in here except Making a Scene. I just couldn't quite figure out how to incorporate that one into my look without making this look completely ridiculous. So I just stuck with those colors. But everything blended out really nicely. Everything is sitting quite nicely as well. No complaints so far. I will say that with Pleather Python, I did have a little bit of fallout on my cheeks. Nothing that I couldn't just quickly swipe away with a brush, but there was just a little bit. So I'd recommend just wetting your brush so you can avoid all of that altogether. Overall, I enjoyed using this palette. I really loved these beautiful shimmery colors, especially this Pleather Python. I thought it was stunning. I loved Next Season, which is this frosty sort of white with a yellow undertone shimmer. I thought that was absolutely stunning to use, and Enviously turned out to be a really nice color to work with. Very, very easy to blend. These mattes are stunning. Very, very pigmented. Now, the downside with this palette, and I did mention it earlier, is that the colors are a little bit limiting. So you can't create multiple looks with what you see in here, or maybe I'm just not creative enough to create multiple looks. I think I would only go for one or two using just this palette alone. I think this palette would be great in combination with another palette that maybe had more transition colors. I'm sure the question that you are all wondering right now is whether or not I would recommend this particular palette, and honestly, it would depend on your budget. If you have the funds to splurge on Marc Jacobs makeup and this eyeshadow palette in particular, it cost me $64 on Sephora Canada's website, then I'd say go for it. It's definitely something that you could use and incorporate into some of your more fun looks and editorial looks, as the palette suggests. I don't think this is your everyday palette. If you are a little more budget conscious, then $64 for 7 eyeshadows is extremely expensive. You could always invest your money in another palette with more eyeshadows and a little more variety, something that you can get a little more use out of, like any of the Lorac Pro palettes, some of the Tarte palettes, the Tarte Pro palette. Those are all really good investments, and I think they're around the same price range as this particular one here, but you just get a little more variety. So at the end of the day, I would leave it completely up to you whether or not you want to pick this up or whether you want to just stare at it from afar, but I think a lot of these colors can be duped, so I wouldn't worry about it if you're concerned that you're missing out on anything. And that's it for me. I hope you guys found this review helpful. If you did, please make sure you give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. You can also connect with me on all of my social media. I am on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat. I will link everything for you in the description box below. Thank you again so much for watching. I hope you are all having an amazing day no matter where you are in the world. Stay beautiful, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.